Welcome to Card Market Catalyst, your go-to source for everything related to football card investing. Whether you're tracking the latest market trends or looking for the next big prospect, we've got you covered. If you enjoy the insights, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the show, and follow us for all our future episodes. Let's dive straight into the market.
Welcome everyone, I am so incredibly excited to dive into this explainer breaking down the market analysis for the 2026 World Cup, specifically looking at Group K. Today we're digging into some absolutely fascinating data to bring you the top 5 players based purely on their card market potential. We're going to get right into it and clarify exactly who is a buy, who's a hold, and who is a sell. And to do that, we'll be using player development forecast and expected tournament rolls to really back up every single point we make. Oh, and just a quick but super important disclaimer before we start. Everything we discuss here is just my personal analysis based on the source material, and it is definitely not financial advice. So as always, make sure to do your own research before investing your hard-earned cash in cards. Okay, let's dive right into this. Group K is, well, honestly, it's pretty amazing. What we have here is this perfect collision of absolute tournament favorites and some massive sleeper narratives that are flying completely under the radar. It's a group where legendary farewell tours crash right into raw, explosive youth potential. So looking at all these rosters, which 5 players actually offer the biggest upside and the best strategy for our hobby? Let's start by looking at the actual bookmaker odds, because those have a direct real-world impact on the card market. As you can see, Portugal has a massive 65% chance to win the group, with Colombia right behind them as the clear challenger at 30%. Now, you might be wondering, why does this matter to us? Well, because tournament survival directly equals global screen time. A team that goes deep into the knockout stages gives its players the ultimate stage, and naturally, more visibility leads to higher demand in the hobby. Portugal isn't just picked to win the group, they have a 90% chance of reaching the next round. That expected longevity, that's the absolute foundation for our market analysis today. Keeping those deep tournament runs in mind, let's start our countdown at number 5. And we're kicking things off with arguably the most famous, but perhaps the most misunderstood investment name in this entire group. Coming in at number 5 is Cristiano Ronaldo. He's an absolute legend of the game, a phenomenon in the hobby, and literally one of the most collected athletes in history. But, and this is a really big but, based purely on market dynamics and our sources, Ronaldo is a clear sell here. I know, that sounds totally crazy for a player of his caliber. But let's look at why this recommendation actually makes total sense from an investment standpoint. Look, this is going to be Ronaldo's 6th and almost certainly his final World Cup. Everyone knows it. The entire collecting world knows it. And because this farewell tour is such a massive storyline, all that anticipation is already completely baked into his card prices. Historically speaking, the peak hype of a final major tournament is the perfect historic opportunity to lock in your gains. Now, if you're a nostalgic collector, obviously keep him. But from a pure investment perspective, the forecasts suggest cashing out now before the tournament even starts. Because, let's face it, we all know the absolute pain of holding bags full of cards that suddenly tank in value after a surprise early exit. Moving right along to number 4, we're shifting gears from a legend at the end of his cycle to a player whose story is pretty much just beginning. Number 4 is Francisco Conceição, and he is a strong buy. He represents classic breakout potential. What makes Conceição so incredibly attractive is his explosive, creative style of play on the wing. But what's even more important for the market is that his cards are currently super affordable, especially when you compare him to his Portuguese teammates like Rafael Leão or Bruno Fernandes. He is the literal definition of a high upside play. There's honestly nothing better than finding a cheap prospect right before they truly take off. Up next is number 3. We're leaving Portugal for a moment to check out Colombia's biggest football star and most vital offensive weapon. At number 3, we have Luis Diaz, and the analysis positions him very clearly as a hold. Diaz is a phenomenal player, and Colombia is a very strong team with an 80% chance of advancing. So why only a hold? Well, his market is already very mature and well-established. While a deep Colombian run definitely offers some upside and will generate new demand, Diaz just lacks that massive explosive growth multiplier that younger, unproven prospects bring to the table. If you have his cards, there's absolutely no reason to panic sell. These stable cards might not make you rich overnight, but they aren't going to crash either. He's rock solid, just not the primary target for massive growth. And this brilliantly illustrates the core of our collecting strategy when we compare them side by side. On one hand, you've got Francisco Conceição representing an affordable rookie market with the potential for explosive growth if he steps up in a crucial knockout match. On the other hand, you've got Luis Diaz as an established, reliable market that lacks that massive youth multiplier. These are two completely different hobby strategies, based exactly on player development forecasts and their expected roles in the tournament. Okay, things are getting really exciting now. We've hit the number 2 spot, and we are looking at the absolute biggest sleeper of Group K. Number 2 is Abdukodir Khusanov from Uzbekistan, and he is a fascinating BY opportunity. While the masses are entirely focused on Portugal and Colombia, Khusanov is flying completely under the radar. He's a young, physically dominant center back who's already playing at the highest club level and serves as the absolute defensive anchor for an extremely disciplined Uzbekistan team. The best risk-reward ratio among the underdogs. That is a direct quote right from the source material, and it's exactly what you want to hear when you're hunting for a sleeper investment. The experts in previews explicitly name him as his country's most important player. His potential to absolutely shock the hobby is immense. Let's break down why that risk-reward ratio is so fantastic. Khusanov brings an unbelievable storyline to the table. This is Uzbekistan's first ever World Cup, a historic moment. Because of this, he's already drawing massive attention from collectors in the Asian and Eastern European markets. If this compact Uzbekistan defense even slightly exceeds expectations and has a respectable tournament, Khusanov is in the perfect position to become a global breakout name. The buy-in price right now is ridiculously low, and the global ceiling is beautifully high. I mean, the thrill of finding a prospect like this for next to nothing is what makes this hobby so awesome, right? All right, drumroll please. We've arrived at the number 1 overall card market target in Group K, the player with the absolute highest ceiling. Number 1 is João Neves, and he is the undisputed top BUI. According to the analysis, Neves represents the absolute best combination of talent, age, opportunity, and market potential, not just in this group, but potentially in the entire tournament. At just 21 years old, he is already playing at an elite, world-class level in the midfield. So the crucial point is revealed when we compare him directly. Take João Neves and compare him to other elite youngsters like Jude Bellingham or Lamine Yamal. Their hype is already maxed out. Everything is priced in. Neves, however, is still seen by many collectors as completely undervalued. And this is despite playing for Portugal, the clear group favorite with realistic ambitions to go very deep into the tournament. This means Neves is going to get immense global screen time as part of a winning team. That is the ultimate platform for his cards to skyrocket in value as his development on the world stage continues to unfold. Let's quickly summarize our key takeaways here. The overarching rule is that deep tournament runs act as a massive multiplier for card values. Since Portugal is expected to dominate, it creates an extremely favorable environment for younger players like João Neves and Francisco Conceição, whose values can still climb significantly. On the flip side, we have Abdukodir Khusanov as the ultimate high-reward sleeper from an underdog nation. And finally, when it comes to the biggest legends, the smart market move is to sell the Cristiano Ronaldo nostalgia right now, before the tournament hype peaks. Ultimately, it all comes down to your personal collecting strategy. Are you investing in past legends whose stories are already fully priced in? Or are you looking toward the future of the tournament and the explosive growth of the next generation? Think about where the true potential lies for you. Thanks so much for joining me for this explainer on the market, and best of luck with your collecting.
Thanks for listening to Card Market Catalyst. If you enjoyed today's deep dive into football card investing, make sure to like and subscribe.